Good evening, paranormal community, and thank you for partaking in this episode of the Odyssey Files. I'm your host, Michael O'Neill. With me, as always, unless he takes the day off, is my co-host.
Game.
Yeah, is my co-host, Mr. David Sawyering. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. I'm excited for tonight. 2 reasons. Well, 3 reasons. First, it's kind of like the kickoff to fall officially, I think, with today's. I think it's like officially a fall day today. We've been in like this Indian summer pattern, which is great. I got no complaints. The snow can stay away, but it was kind of nice to wake up this morning and I had to like jump out of bed and close my window because it was absolutely freezing in my room. It's been a long time since I've had to do that. So, and I love that because then I sleep like a baby.
I see.
And then you have something special. And then our guest tonight, of course, is a friend of mine from work that, well, we'll get into that when we introduce her, but very much looking forward to tonight's show. Fantastic topic list that she sent over.
I was just going to say, you have to put a plural on that because there's no one topic here.
No, I looked at it. She sent it to me. I was like, yeah, no, this is going to be great.
So, really quick, before we bring in our guest, I just want to officially announce that we are launching the new Odyssey Files website. There are some things that are going to be added and kind of moved around, but for the most part, it is up and ready to go, including, we did not know this until this afternoon, that we were actually going to be able to get our lives to work on the website. But you can head on over to odysseyfilesradio.com and see what it's all about. You'll have a good portion of our shows, video and audio, and yeah. So there'll be more news about that as the weeks go on. But for the most part, head on over and send us an email, odysseyfilesradio@gmail.com, and let us know what you think of the of what we have and maybe what we don't have, and throw out some suggestions if you want. We'll be happy to take them. Anthony, we're talking to you when that happens because you're the only one that talks to us.
Our one and only fan.
Yeah, he is our listener.
Yeah.
Just kidding. So as Dave said, great guest. And do you want me to introduce her?
I'll introduce her. So Cathy and I kind of met at work. She was one of my clients that I called, and it was kind of funny because I never really got into the doctor thing. I just assumed doctor, like medical doctor. And it probably wasn't until the 3rd conversation that we had or so, maybe the 4th, where she's like, no, that's my dad. I am a doctor of the metaphysical and like healing. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like right up my alley for what I've been doing for the last 7 years with my friend Mike. I said, and so we got into a deeper conversation about it and stuff like that. And I'm like, I said, Cathy, you got to be on the show. So without any further ado, my friend, Dr. Cathy Chapman.
Hello there. I buy rings from him. Regularly.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we have in common. The only thing that I've ever bought from him also was a ring.
Yeah.
I've bought more than one.
You have. Yeah.
I don't, for those of you who know me, know that I'm not a bling person. Mm-hmm. So like 80% of Dave's catalog is like out the window for me. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not needed.
But the ring you got is a great ring.
I agree.
Yeah, great ring, great price. It's the Men Tungsten 24 karat gold ring. It's a beautiful ring for what it was.
Yeah, but he's not, selling it.
Yeah, let's just turn the first half hour into an infomercial for Stour.com.
No, I'm not doing that.
We have a salesman, we have a client, we have 2 clients. Apparently,
2 clients and a senior Black Diamond concierge service director.
So Cathy, honestly, and maybe this is just on me. Maybe I just haven't been paying enough attention, but I honestly did not know you could get a doctorate in metaphysics. Because
Well, there's actually a place in Sedona, University of Metaphysics. My doctorate is actually in mind body psychology.
okay, all right,
But
fair
there
enough.
is a metaphysical university in Sedona, Arizona, where you can get a doctorate in it.
That makes complete sense, actually. Like, if it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be Sedona.
Yeah.
So I mean, what exactly, to you, because I know we talked about this before the show, is like metaphysics, and for what you do, and how exactly did you come to be a part of all of it?
In 30 words or less.
Sure. We usually do 30 minutes or less.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say 30
probably.
words,
Yeah.
30 words or less. I got to see this. I'm going to sit
No,
back.
it's
Let me
not
get
going
my
to happen.
popcorn.
It's just not going to happen. So I think of metaphysics. This is not the official definition. I think of metaphysics as beyond the physical, going into areas that some people say is not a reality because they don't believe in anything they can't see or touch. And how I got into this, my stepping off place was spirituality. I'm a cradle Catholic, which means that my family, I was born into Catholicism, and I was in a Catholic school from first grade through 10th grade. And then when I was 23, I entered the convent. But before I entered the convent, I became involved with something known as the charismatic renewal. And if you've heard of praying in tongues and prophecy and healing and things like that, that's what that was. And then I spent 20 years in the convent, and during that time I had some amazing, whether you want to call it metaphysical experiences, they were deep spiritual experiences to me. For instance, one of them, I was what I call a baby nun, and I wasn't a nun, I was a sister, but that's just a way that we talk about it. Is I was in training, and it was after a retreat after I made first vows, and I saw a vision. I had a vision of the feminine aspect of God. Imagine the world in one way, and then here is this form that is dancing around the world as if it is a exercise ball, say for instance, and touching everybody there. And at that time, there was the starvation going on in Biafra, and there was all kinds of things over the world to try to get money and goods to them. And she was touching the children in Biafra. She was touching gangsters. She was touching good people. She was touching everyone. And it was my introduction to the feminine aspect of God, and my introduction to that deep, intense feeling that God loves all, no matter what the all does, who they are. And as I worked in my spiritual growth in the convent, I was a Dominican sister from Houston, and I was in the convent for 20 years. And I did several different things. One's called centering prayer, which is a form of meditation. And I got more in touch with something well beyond me, which just was amazing to me. And towards the end of my convent life, which is actually the part of what drew me out of the convent, was a program called Healing Touch. And it originates in Colorado. It was formed by nurses, and it was how to use energy healing using your hands to direct energy. And I took it. I mean, I had rebelled against it. I said, no, I'm not going to take that. No, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to do it. And after 6 months, I said, okay, I'll do it. I did the same thing, by the way, entering the convent. I had been close to being engaged, and I broke up with him because I was not in love with him. The thing that guys hate, let's just be good friends type thing. And I kept asking God. I mean, I literally did. I would say, okay, God, you obviously didn't want me to get married. What do you want me to do? And I heard, I want you to enter the convent. And I said, as every good person following God does. I said, no, absolutely not. And that went on for about 6 months. And I said, okay, I'll try it for 6 months and see what happens. Well, I was in there for 20 years. But what really changed things for me is in Christianity, you have a sense of a God outside of yourself that you use. In Catholicism, you use the priest to get in touch with and things like that. And what happened with Healing Touch is I got to know a God in here. And then all kinds of things started happening for me. I realized that the different energies that I have, that feelings of tingling when I pray for someone, that there is actual and a reason for that. I learned about the chakras. I learned about how God's grace manifests itself through prana or chi, how whatever word you want to do. I'm a real good translator from doing some metaphysical things to talking about it in the spiritual sense and can bring Christianity. You know, people would tell me, aren't you afraid this is of the devil? I said, well, Jesus said, by their fruits you will know them, and this passes the fruit test by seeing what had happened to many, many different people. And as I learned more about the energy and got more in touch with God in this different way, and including what they call angels and guides. Catholic Church is a big believer in angels. And of course, it's in the New Testament and it's in the Old Testament all the way, but I got to know them in a very personal way. And things started expanding for me and going in spirituality much different. I started discovering I could do things. I had a gift for doing things that I never dreamed that I could do. And part of that is what we call spirit release. And I wasn't planning on going in that this soon, but I will go ahead and talk about that. So spirit release is when you have energies or spirits that are attached to you. One of the kind that's known most is what people call ghosts. We call them spiritual attachments. I call them actually people who have lost their way. One of the things that can happen is that when somebody dies suddenly, they're so startled, they don't know they're dead. It's like if I right here had a heart attack and left, and I don't know why y'all are upset. Why are you wanting to call 911? Why are you wanting to do all these things? Because my body is turned over, but I'm just, well, okay, what's happening? How come I don't feel pain? Anything like that. Well, spirits, when they don't know that they've died, and believe it or not, people don't know that they died, they get stuck. They attach themselves to someone. They may attach themselves, if work is their primary focus, they may attach themselves to the office. If they're worried about family or friends, they may attach themselves to that person. And you think, well, why would that be a really negative thing? Well, the negative thing is they bring all their fears. They bring even their illnesses. Let's say somebody who died of cancer. I've had this happen with clients that come in. I was fine, and my dad died of stomach cancer, and the pain in my stomach and in my gut is so strong. And I have a process, and part of it is spirit, God, whatever you want to call that says, check this out. And I become aware that there is another being there. And I help my client get in touch with that being. Most of them can. And I will give them directions. So, and I'll ask, well, I want you to just examine, just kind of, I call it scan the area right over here, over your right shoulder, and then scan it over your left and tell me if there's a difference. And they'll say, yes, it feels heavy. I said, okay, I want you to just focus on that heaviness. And I want you to do this from your heart. Tell them to go into their heart chakra, the center of their chest, and ask, who are you? And I'll get people that go, Dad, Mom, Aunt Susan, Jennifer, all kinds of things like that. And I help them go home. And what we do is talk about that your body, I help the other person works with me, and I will tell them, I said, your body is dead. You're alive, but your body is no longer there, and you have to go home now. You're not doing any good for this person you love. And sometimes they're there because they did something they're ashamed of with that person. I find that with sexual abuse, with incest, and they want to apologize. Other times, they are so terrified that they're going to go to hell because of something that they did. And I have to instruct them that there really is no hell, that there is a loving creator that is ready to welcome you home. And it depends upon the person. They become my client in essence. And I call upon those who know them, who are now on the other side and who know them. It's a parent, often is who comes. Sometimes it's a wife. Sometimes it's a child that had passed on. It is not even unusual for it to be a child that had been miscarried or aborted that comes and says, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I love you. I know you. And why don't you come home? And I start to get tears in my eyes because that happens all the time. And when I finish and they go, and the person will feel it, said, did you feel that? Yeah, I'm lighter. And I always emphasize, I want you to know what you just did. You helped someone go back to God. It's like finding a little child in the neighborhood and you discovered that you could walk them home. And when I started doing that, I knew that I could get into trouble with the conservative elements in Houston. That's where I was in Houston. Because you're not supposed to do that. That's talking to the dead. You're not supposed to do that. Well, then I found out not only did I have a gift for recognizing that, but I found out I had a gift for recognizing darkness. Some people call them demons. I would have the client ask, who is that? And I said, I don't understand their name, but they're safe from, I said, well, ask them where they're from. I said, they're from the devil. And so I help them go back. Now, in the Bible, it says that the angels, which are who the bad angels is what I learned in Catholic school, that they knew God, therefore they could never go back to God once they deny God. Well, I believe in a God who is all loving and wants everyone back, and that they can go back to God. And I know absolutely that they can go back to God. And what I help them to do is and I'm talking about these dark beings, these dark spirits. Hold on one second. Didn't want to cough in your ear. These dark spirits, and I challenge them to look deep within themselves. And some of them, they won't do it. And, if you got a bully, you always challenge the bully. And I say, oh, you must be afraid. I'm more powerful than you. You must be afraid. And so they look deep within themselves. And I tell them, look deeper. And then I can feel it when they hit a light. They can see a light, experience light. And I see it. And I say, what do you see? And the spirit will say, I see light. And I tell them, this is proof that you have been lied to. You are of the light, you are of God, and you may return. And then the next step is I say, I want you to talk to someone. And I ask them, I call upon them. I said, I want you to talk to people, beings, souls that you knew in darkness, but they're not in the dark anymore. They're in the light. And I call in those spirits. And I say, those who knew this one in darkness but are now in the light, please come talk to this one. And it's like, whoom, I can feel all this energy coming in. And, how you're in one room and you can hear people talking in another, but you don't have any idea what they're saying. Well, that's what it's like. Have no idea what's going on. And then after the conversation is over, I asked that spirit, I said, do you want to go with them? You'll be fully protected. Nobody from the other side can come get you. You will be fully protected and you will never suffer again. Because what happens is these dark spirits, when they have failed in their job, which is to make us miserable. And as soon as I discover that they're there, they have failed because there's no way that they can continue. And I tell them, I said, I know that when you fail and you go back to where you're from, that you're going to be punished. You're going to be in absolute pain. Would you like to not ever have that pain again? And that's where the story starts, and having them go back. And then I say, you may go with these. Are you ready to go? And they'll go. I've only had one that has turned me down in the years that I've been doing this, about 25 years. And they leave, except I tell them, any structures you built in the individual, any things you brought in, you take with you, dismantle, take with you, and then they leave. And then, of course, I always ask that the space that is left by them leaving be filled with the love of God. And I am sure to tell my client, do you realize what you just did? You took a being, a soul that had been created by God, who thought it could never go back to God, and it is now back to God and free, and is not going to be afflicting anybody on this planet anymore. And that is pretty awesome. It is absolutely amazing. And just to give you another story, when getting in touch with spirits, I didn't really realize that I had the ability to hear spirit. People call it a medium. I'm not trained as a medium, but I was working with a woman, and it was her first session with me. She got a referral from somebody else who worked with me. And I said, I'm sorry. She kept trying to tell me her story, right? And I said, I'm sorry, but who was Susan? And she just looked so startled. She said, I keep hearing the name Susan, Susan, Susan. And she almost cries. And she says, Susan was my sister. She died. She had been born with a disability. I think she was also probably mentally retarded. And that was Susan coming to me, who didn't know that I could do this, and to say, I'm fine. I'm happy and I'm fine and I'm joyful. And the healing it brought to her. So all of those things that I just described to you that I have done, it made some of them happened in the convent, some of them out, the stories that I gave you out of the convent. But you're not supposed to do those things. You're not supposed to send dark spirits away. Catholic Church, there's one exorcist in the diocese, and that's a priest. And I really felt strongly that it was my whole community was going to get leveled. And I was going to be told I couldn't do this. And so I decided to leave. And it was the best decision that I made. I loved being with them. Those group of women, I loved being with them, but it was time for me to go. And so that was.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Cathy, you froze.
Technical timeout.
Well, Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I've got 5 questions written down. I'm going to have to turn the clock back here 23 and a half minutes for my first question when we get Cathy back.
I have 2 that is going to move to more, but just to get the ball rolling. So we're not going to get out of this first hour.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
I don't know how to unfreeze.
It should come back on. I would think it'd come back on her end, but
yeah, she just vanished. All right.
yeah,
So
that's fine. So she'll link back in.
Yep.
She's coming back, August.
Don't yes.
We're not losing her. We got Cathy for the full 2 hours. So
yeah. Why don't you go and work on the website a little bit and then come back?
Yeah, I'll and I don't think that this will be her last visit with us.
Of course not.
I wanted to, because I don't even know that we're going to get to UFOs today, but she's got some pretty unique, some cool UFO stuff too. So,
yep. So while we're waiting for Cathy to return, because I'll bet you.
Oh my God, I got a story I want to share.
Tell it.
You got something important, or are we looking to fill some time? Because I got a great story.
No, I was looking to fill some time, so go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I had another client at work, and we're talking, and her husband, I think I've told you this, maybe not, but I've talked about it, but I don't remember exactly to who. Her husband is a war veteran, came home disabled. Before he died, like the last 18 months of his life, just absolutely miserable, just
I think you
horrible.
told me this story before, but
Yeah.
tell it to the
Yep,
audience.
yep. So pain, right? Well, so anyway, but just brutal. She elaborated more on it as I talked to her, and just absolutely brutal. The last couple years of his life, before he finally passed. So he has a war museum. He's a big collector of war memorabilia, all the way back from World War One. And he had it downstairs. And what they did is they hooked up a landline downstairs with a speed dial for number one that would call her cell phone if he needed something or if he needed her, so he could get a hold of her right away. So he does. He calls. He's passed away now. He's been gone for 4 years. And earlier this year, he calls her and freaks her out. And she said, she's listening, waiting to hear something, and she can't hear anything. And then she said it sounded like way off in the distance somebody was talking, but like way, like the phone was here and they were, at the 20-yard line kind of thing. And that was it. It only happened once. So, update. She met a guy and things have been going okay, but they've been like, she's got doubts and stuff like that. And so she asked her husband out loud in the house, if you don't want me to see this guy because there's something I should know that I don't know right now, call me. And that night he called her again. And she's like, what should I do, Dave? And I said, well, I think you should pretty much listen to what your husband's saying, because he's obviously still around, keeping an eye out for you. And he's worried or concerned because he knows something you don't about this individual who's trying to work his way into your life. So anyway, I thought that was pretty amazing, though. So he's reached out twice. And now it's getting to the point where even though she's not close, I've told her that maybe I'm going to have to road trip and come see her and see what's going on. Spend some time with her. All right, my dear. Where is my dear Cathy at?
I don't know. Let me see. She's obviously having internet issues.
Yeah. I'll send her a quick message.
So I'm waiting. I want to hear her answer to this, because it goes against, I guess, every piece of advice that I've given for like the past 14 years. And it's based on, like, according to Cathy, it seems like attachments can be like on demand. Like they can just attach themselves to people
instantaneously. Yep.
instantaneously, no intent, no anything. It's just,
Right.
I was close to you, I'm now attached to you. And that's like against everything that I've known about this. So I'd like some clarification. And for those of you who are listening to the show, you're going to hear me explain and ask the question the exact same way for a second time, so bear with me. But we didn't get a chance to say that this wasn't part of Dave's intro. And I'm going to get the story behind this, because it's a big ass coincidence. But her business name is called Odyssey to Wholeness.
Yep.
So yeah, there you go. It's we have another person on a journey. Yeah, absolutely. I guess you could say.
Well, she's definitely on a journey.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until I invited her on the show. And then she kind of laughed when she heard the name of our show, and she said, well, it seems to me that we're
destined.
It seems to me that or something to the effect of, it seems to me that the Odyssey, that we are on an Odyssey together. And I said, oh, we are. I said, why are we on an Odyssey together? And she said, well, you're the Odyssey Files Radio, and I am the Odyssey to Wholeness. That's my business. And I'm like, oh, Well, you're definitely coming on the show now. I mean, just that right there gets you an invite.
There you go, people. If you want to become a guest, all you gotta do is figure
All you
out
got
how
to do is create a
put
business and put the word Odyssey.
Put Odyssey into your name or group, and you are on.
Well, it's her business name, but yeah.
Well, I know. I meant anybody's. You know.
Right. Right.
So,
this is where we need to have like a clip. So August, if you're still listening here, you got to write something for the website where we could just like push a button and then just go to some like remember like back in the day at the movie theater when they would have the concession stand commercial and the hot dog would run and jump in the bun and the popcorn's popping and the cold soda fountain drinks. Like not that we need that, but we need something like paranormal.
Just stop.
Like some UFO photos, you know.
Yeah. So I was thinking I might
intermission. There you go.
Yeah. Well, our intermission is only like 2 minutes long. So usually. And we haven't played it for quite a long time.
No, we haven't had to.
No, exactly. But I would like to talk more about the website.
Yeah,
since we haven't, because I wanted it to I wanted to make it quick, you know, obviously because Cathy was waiting in the backstage area.
Mm-hmm.
So here are things that we are trying to do. Not sure, at least for the humongous like archive. So we have it where it seems every show from Dustin Perry and Brandy Green when they were on the show together.
Yeah, way back when. That was a while ago.
It was a while ago. That was like episode 172, I believe. And we're now at 316. So a long time ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
But they all went to Spreaker on the web network. So right now, our job, my job, whatever, is to try and figure out how to get the previous 171 episodes onto the website. If we need to. I mean, it's one of those things is like, do people because I'm actually on the website. I want to look at this because it had a list. Right now, the 145 episodes that are up on the thing, it'll be 146 when we're done with this one. 292 hours and 56 minutes of us.
That's not nearly enough.
I agree.
That is not nearly enough.
But people
if you're going to move those other ones over, the 171 or whatever, I would be selective and just bring over the good ones. Because there were some real clunkers there in the beginning years. So I would not bother bringing those. Those can stay on Spreaker. But like the good ones that were in there, I would definitely bring those over if you can.
Well, I'll see. Because
those are like that Grant Wilson show. Wasn't he in that group then? Like
probably
early. Yeah, because he would have been early.
Yeah. So Grant Wilson show. The first couple of times Elizabeth was on.
Yeah, right. Elizabeth. Yeah, no, we can't lose those.
No. Well, we're not losing them. I mean, honestly, they're still on OdysseyParanormalSociety.com.
Okay.
They're still there to be listened to. And so we're working on that. But on the main page, we're going to have upcoming shows. We're going to have featured shows. Like if we want to go back. What?
The electricity went out in the whole neighborhood. She said somebody doesn't want me to talk anymore.
Wow, they blew a transformer.
She said somebody doesn't want me to talk anymore. They don't want me to be on. The electricity's out in the whole neighborhood. Cathy.
Go on her phone. It's time to use that T-Mobile service for what it's good for. Okay, well, apparently if the entire neighborhood is out, I don't see it coming back anytime soon.
No.
So, well, since we didn't have anything planned,
we'll just put this one. It'll be a 36-minute show. It'll be one of the fastest shows we've ever done. And
Well,
then
let
we'll
me
have
fin-
her back on the next time she can make it. So
Well, okay. How about this? Well, yeah, if she can make it next week, that'd be great.
no, I don't know what she's doing. I'll ask her, but
Right. I just said if she can
yeah.
do it next week. But I mean, this was a good test to see whether the live feature would work on the website. The other thing that hopefully Mr. August, my webmaster, who's a genius, by the way, just putting that out there. Don't let it go to your head. But there's going to be a submission form on the main page for people who want to pose their questions and stories to us. So hoping that a lot of people will use that. Yeah, if anything, I'll probably not even post this show at all. So if you're not here live, you don't get to listen at all. And
Well, I don't know.
next
I
week,
think that first 30 minutes was like an hour's worth of good stuff.
which we can't follow up with now.
But that's just that's like,
All right.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a great half hour as an introduction for her. So next time she's on, she doesn't have to repeat that all again.
It'll be part 1.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. All right. I'll change the name for being like part 1, and people who listen to it will understand why. But yeah, we should next time we should have Cathy go to a cafe or a diner or a Starbucks or something and see better infrastructure with the energy.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so there's a bunch more stuff that still needs to be worked on. In the past, in the archive, you're going to get video and you're going to get audio. Be your choice which one you want. If you want to see Dave and Mai's gruffy and scruffy, smiles and everything week after week, and me wearing my Odyssey hat, Dave bringing out his bandwagon jumping hat,
whatever hat I happen to have on that day.
Yeah. You can do that. Especially like when we do the crop circle show. Dave's got some
hat though. I gotta buy a crop circle.
No, I was talking about the hat. I was talking about like when you're going to share your screen.
Oh, yes.
And stuff like that. And when we're going to have photos and videos and stuff like that to share.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To share with people. You'll be able to go and choose that version of the show from the website. I think it's going to be great. It's also going to be the place where Dave and I are going to post our Two Dudes and Some Chips.
There you go.
Show. So that will be the home of that show as well. So it'll be an extra added feature.
Are we going to get the premiere of that out here before in 2024? Or is that like a 2025 project?
You tell me there, buddy.
Well, I'm working a lot lately now.
Yeah, well, me too.
Oh, I know you are. So I mean, that's why it's hard for us to come up with a.
I know. Right now, the only day that we like coincide is Sundays,
and we have this show,
and that's football and the show,
right?
And we're not Two Dudes and Some Chips if we're like trying to be on camera talking about sports while missing sports to do it. So, and Dave's in another world.
No, Cathy's right.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to Two Dudes and Some Chips, to be honest with you, because I've got some notes that I've written down of things that I just want to go off on.
Right, because that's something that we do have to do is talk about or bring up the topics.
Yeah, subject ideas, kind
of. So if our Odyssey Files fan wants to throw out some ideas of things you would like, sweet chat window on the live page. I like it.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, if you have suggestions that you would like things Dave and I to share our opinions with or rant about, I should say, because we used to do that. Remember that when you had the rant of the week?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty much what Two Dudes and Some Chips is, except you're going to we're gonna be on video and
Eating chips.
eating chips. um so
We're gonna have to
yeah,
buy some mic packs.
I don't know what that is.
Those wireless microphone packs, like the
Oh,
YouTubers wear.
I
Because I'm not gonna be sitting in front of the microphone. We're gonna be sitting back in a recliner or whatever talking about. So we're not gonna be sitting with our face in a microphone like we do now. Like
no,
you can see Mike's, you can't see mine, but it's right in front of my face.
I don't I think I still have the two when I had
Yeah, like
the
you'd have it at a
Vista.
conference or something. You know, when they
No, I
do
know what you're
presenting
talking
and
about, but
you don't have them. Yeah.
I had to, but I'm just trying to wondering if I had to turn those in or not when I lost the business.
Well, they're cheap.
Oh, they are cheap.
I
So
even grabbed the nice ones on Amazon. It ain't no big deal.
um
Not that we're promoting Amazon unless they're paying us for something,
and they're not.
and they're
Uh
not at the moment. So,
yeah, I assure you.
although I did see a really nice TV I want for Christmas. So,
Shocker.
uh,
Anyways, so we're not going to get Cathy back, and
no, not tonight. We're not.
I just want everybody to go and check out the website when they get a chance. Let us know what you think. Let me know
Yeah,
what you think.
check out Cathy's website too.
Sure.
So,
I don't know what the address is.
Odyssey and Wholeness. Yeah, just
Oh.
look her up. Look her up on, just Google her, Dr. Cathy Chapman in Sedona, Arizona, and all of her stuff it's right at the top. Like the first 5 sites are all her stuff. So go visit Cathy if you liked what you heard. We haven't all we've talked about so far is the convent related stuff and her journey to kind of go be with God for an extended period of time and serve God. We haven't gotten into any of the other stuff that she wants to talk about. Like we haven't even turned the page of a book. She's like a book. I'm not even going to say how many pages, but we're like on page 1. We didn't even get through the end of page 1. So there's a lot of stuff to come.
She is actually an author as well, so you can look up her books. But here's some of the topics that we will be eventually covering. Obviously, Sedona and UFOs, guardian angels, encodement energy. I really had never heard of that before. Like Reiki and energy healing. Everybody has a healing team. Never heard that before.
No, but I'm excited because, brother, if anybody needs a healing team, you're looking at the man.
Yeah. Apparently,
physical healing team.
Apparently, your healing team is also disabled.
Yeah, they're on strike or they're disabled, just like I am. Yeah, one of the two. Right.
Your healing team has obviously unionized.
Yeah. They're mad at me or something. I don't know what the hell.
We need better benefits with this guy.
Yeah. Something's going on, man. They got lost in the storm. I don't know. Couldn't find their way back home.
Their kid's sick. But yeah, so and that's not even covering like the 6 questions that Dave and I have just from that intro.
Yeah, right. Right.
So it's going to be a very long conversation with Dr. Cathy Chapman when she's able to rejoin us. But I don't have anything else.
What is next week? Is next week the Halloween show? No, 2 weeks, right?
No, that's 2 weeks. Yep.
Okay.
So Halloween, we're going to be talking on the 20
Demons.
Yep, on the 27th.
Yep.
That show is going to be. We're going to be talking about the Crossroads Demon. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I found a ton of stuff on that already. So
nice. So yeah, plenty upcoming. So stay tuned for that. But otherwise, unless you have anything else.
No, just looking forward to coming back. Sorry that this happened. Obviously, it had nothing to do with her. It's interesting though. I'm gonna have a conversation with her about it because I think that this isn't the first time that we've been sabotaged when we've got into like a really juicy, like revealing kind of topic. And she's talking about taking demonic entities, fallen angels that stood with Lucifer against God, and then bringing them back to God. And then all of a sudden she just fries out. I got a feeling.
Apparently, the one that turned her down didn't like that
I
conversation.
was going to
very
say,
much.
this first thing that popped into my head was, I wonder if the one that turned her down just paid her a visit at the house and fried her electrical box.
Well, not hers, the entire neighborhood.
No, the neighborhood, right? It's probably a transformer.
So, I guess we'll see everybody next week.
Yeah.
Until then, stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here, and we want to see Cathy back here.
We do want to see Cathy back.
Everyone, have a great night.